In the previous video, we talked about how you can have oscillations in the output of your flip-flop. And the basic reason why you had oscillations was because as long as the clock is 1, as long as you are in this state, you continuously keep having this your outputs changing, right? Uh, is it possible to then think of some scheme where the output changes once every clock cycle and not many times in a clock cycle? Okay, and before we get into that, let's just look at this square wave. Okay, it's a slightly slanted square wave, but what I'm it was supposed to be a proper step square wave. Okay, and till now, what we did in our square wave was we said, well, we want our flip flop input to affect the output when the level is 1, and we don't want it to affect when the level is 0. Okay. Now, instead, can we make a circuit that instead of being triggered by levels is triggered by edges? Okay. What do I mean by edge? So there are two edges in the square wave, right? This is one edge. So this is one edge, and this is another edge. So can I make a circuit such that my flip-flop only responds to a change in the clock signal instead of the level of the clock signal? Okay. Now, yes, you can do that, and we'll just look at a circuit. But before that, I just wanted to define what these two edges are called by different names, and I just wanted to introduce the names to you. So this edge is usually called the positive edge. Okay, the reason why it's called the positive edge is because it's going from 0 to 1, so it's increasing, so it's a positive edge, while this edge is called the negative edge because it's going from 1 to 0. Another way of calling these edges, you call this the leading edge. The leading edge. The reason why you would call this the leading edge is because it comes first, it leads, right? While this edge, this one can be called the trailing edge. Okay, it's not necessary that the negative edge is always the trailing edge. So for example, you could have another square wave like this, right? You could have another square wave like this. So there are two edges here, this edge and this edge. Now let's think of what is this edge. Is it a negative edge or a positive edge? Of course, it's a negative edge, right? Because it's going from 1 to 0. So it's a negative edge. But is it a leading edge or a trailing edge? It's a leading edge because it comes first. Okay? So leading edge. Now similarly, this is called a positive edge, and but it's a trailing edge. Excuse me. So what we'll do in the next video is we will look at how we can make flip-flops that actually trigger at the edges. And I think once we do that, I think we have all the information about flip-flops that we need, and then we can go on in the next week to do some very interesting circuits.